Join the taco cooking revolution with the Taco Rack at tacorack.com. Prepare, cook, and serve hot, crisp tacos only on the Taco Rack. Vetted by me and the AMTV crew, the Taco Rack is the only restaurant-quality taco rack for the professional chef or stay-at-home cook. 100% made in the USA, the Taco Rack by La Cucaraca is the winner of CNBC's Big Idea and fun for the whole family. Click the link below and get yours now.
Today I want to talk about the growing freedom and liberty movement that is taking shape all across America and really all across the world. Now, case in point, I'm on my way to the supermarket a few days ago, and what do I see plastered on the bumper in the black SUV in front of me? I see a bumper sticker that says "Got Liberty" on it, guys. And that's something very important to think about, because what it's telling you is this movement for freedom and liberty that is growing and spreading like a wildfire is starting to go mainstream. Case in point, we have soccer moms that drive black SUVs here in Arizona sporting the sticker on the back of their cars. That's how mainstream this is becoming. And it's an important conversation to have, because we have to take a look at the mainstream propaganda that we're still constantly getting out of Washington and out of the mainstream media. Now, how is the mainstream media interpreting this new movement for freedom and liberty? Well, case in point, a perfect example is the 60 Minutes episode that they released a couple weeks ago, where they talked about and propagandized this new movement for liberty and freedom as the sovereign movement. Because you see, guys, that's what propaganda is. They spin it, put a negative connotation on something that is inherently good, something that is inherently truthful, and they call it the sovereign movement. I mean, it sounds like such a ridiculous name, too, doesn't it? You know, sovereign. It's like you don't want to be a part of the union. You want to be your own state. But we need to think about it, and we need to address the issue, because what they're telling you, America, is that if you still stand for freedom, if you still stand for liberty, if you still stand for the Constitution of the United States, if you still stand for the principles on which this country was founded on, although not perfect, you, America, are now the terrorist. You are now the sovereign man. You are the one in this sovereign movement. And the problem with it, guys, is if you really think about it, if you really drill it down, standing up for freedom and liberty is about as American as it can get. That, in my opinion, is what being an American is all about. It's about disagreeing with the state. It's about fighting the state. It's about standing up for what you believe in, and it's by making sure that the politicians that supposedly are here to represent us listen to what we have to say. Now, believe me, guys, I know this country isn't perfect. I know there's been great atrocities since the founding of this great experiment. For example, the blacks in this country, the civil rights movements, or how about the Native Americans here in Arizona that have completely been eradicated from the scene. The only thing they have left is a diminished population and the gambling casinos and golf courses that we've left them. So believe me, folks, I know things aren't perfect, but freedom and liberty is still worth fighting for. It's still worth standing up for. And we also need to look at this in the bigger grand scheme of things, guys, because this is the modern form, the modern day Civil War movement that is taking place and taking shape. In 2011, guys, we have divisions in this country. We have states like Texas and Arizona that are saying no to bailouts, that are saying no to handouts, that are saying no to criminality, and that are standing up for morality, that are standing up for right and wrong, and are making our voices heard. You know, I was on the radio, Press for Freedom. Ron interviewed me the other day. I posted the video. If you haven't watched it, please watch it, but it's a money bomb for Ron Paul. And it's amazing how nobody is really giving these people the kind of credit that they deserve. The people that have been telling us all along that we're blowing up bubbles, that they're going to pop, and that there's going to be a gross payment in pain inflicted on the American people if we don't address it. And that's the problem, guys. If we really take a look at the root causes and the root evil of everything we've seen the past few years, just take a look at our reaction, our politicians' reaction to September 11th. What did Alan Greenspan and what did the Federal Reserve do? What did our President Bush do right after the September 11th attack? Well, the first thing they did was take interest rates down to multi-decade lows. Probably because they were trying to avoid a depression. And what happened exactly after they did that? Right after they did that? Well, what it did is created a massive speculative bubble in our stock market and in housing that inevitably popped. And we are living through the fallout. We are living in this radiation, so to speak, right now. So we know exactly what happened due to that artificial stimulus. We know exactly what happened. And so how did our politicians and how did Washington react when we were faced with the crisis of 2008? A much deeper, aggressive crisis. We reacted in the same exact way as we did before. We reacted with more debt. We reacted with more spending. We reacted with more stimulus. And instead of taking interest rates down to multi-decade lows, we took them down to zero. And we really need to focus on this, guys, because what this is telling you, and believe me, I'm not a genius, I'm not a rocket scientist, but based on personal experience and based on history, I can tell you none of this will end well. And what it's going to result in, it's going to result in an even bigger, more magnificent, more aggressive bubble, except this time it's not in real estate, this time it's in the stock market, it's in bonds, it's in commodities, it's in food prices, it's in energy, and they're bigger, brighter, more aggressive than before. And guess what's going to happen, guys? They're all going to pop. And it's going to be a bigger radiation, a bigger nuclear bomb that we will not be able to recover from, and that will result in a decade or longer period of time where the American people are suffering, our way of life becomes destroyed, and our standard of living is much lower than it ever was before. And that is why states like Texas and Arizona should be looked up to and admired, because they are starting this wave in liberty and freedom. They are brewing it. They are creating the momentum, and it's something every American should stand up for. It's something every American should fight for, because we can no longer allow our politicians to torch this country, to literally light it on fire at our expense, reward fraud, reward banking criminals, and never punish the guilty. We need to stand up for it, and we need to establish a moral principle in this country. We need to establish a principle right from wrong. I'm Christopher Green. You've been watching Green Wave TV, alternative media television, and I just deliver the Daily Wave. Hard-hitting and in your face, America.